why do you do what you do, or why do you want to do it? Because when I was a graphic designer, I did my job really good. I had good clients, I had good money. I had no complaints except one. I feel like my mission was not fulfilled. And when I realized that, I dropped my work and I was just having little time to exploring myself. And honestly, actually, my mom helped me at that time. I was just coming to her and I was saying, look, I don't know what I want to do. I know I want something related to health, but I cannot be a doctor. It's too late, to start studying. And then she was like, oh, there's this new holistic approach thing. And she sent me the school link to the school. And I basically, the next few days, I just spent all my money, all my savings, and I bought the course. So sometimes you need to look at the signs, what it shows you. Usually the universe gives us so many signs already to understand what we need to do.
Welcome to Storypreneurs. On today's episode, we have Kate Gunner, a health coach, nutritionist, and a digital nomad. Kate's new ebook, 100 Recipe Cookbook for Busy Lives, is packed with quick and nutritious meals for those on the go. She also shares tips on achieving a healthy balance and making the most of your travel experiences. Let's dive into Kate's inspiring journey today and discover how to live a healthier, more balanced, and adventurous life. Let's dive in. Hi, Kate. Welcome
Hi,
to the
Steph.
podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. Listen, I am so happy that you're here. I enjoyed meeting you in Chiang Mai in the Digital Nomad Summit. And when I met you, we started talking about how to live a healthier, more balanced life on the go. I immediately thought I have to invite Kate to the podcast. She is so knowledgeable about this. And I love your videos on Instagram and I love your reels and I love your story. So I thought we have to share that with everyone. So tell me, what motivated you to become a health coach? How did you turn that into a passion and into an online business?
Actually, it started with my own problem with health. I don't know how often that happens to other coaches. I think pretty often because we are searching for certain answers that the other people don't give us or the doctors doesn't give. So I had already some chronic problems like pancreatitis and gastritis, and I was suffering with it like since my childhood. And I had to have certain restrictive diets that were required that I couldn't eat like fried food. I would be really, really restricted to eat like boiled food. And I would be so tired. And I was like, is this my life? Is this how I'm supposed to eat now and suffer all the time? So I was asking those questions. And then later on, when I was a graphic designer, so I'm very, very much tied to a digital nomad life or digital life in general. And I was working in an office, and everything was fine. So I had a schedule. I was waking up. I was having breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like everything's good. But when I shifted to the being a freelancer, working through the Upwork, this is where everything started changing because I started taking project, working at night. I was skipping meals, skipping breakfast. I was like trying to relax myself over the alcohol and eating some dessert. I actually gained 5 kilos, I think. And yeah,
Oh,
it might not be you might not believe in it, but actually it happened. And I was like, no, I need to change something because it's just not working. And at some point I was so depressed of my life that I started having panic attacks. And I started taking antidepressants. The moment I took them, I felt like I'm a vegetable and I don't make my own decisions and I do not control my own life. And then I was like, okay, this is enough. So I threw away those antidepressants. I was basically replacing it with vitamins and prove myself that this is my vitamin, this is my antidepressant. And I was taking it. And then I just I need to search for the answers. So I was going to different festivals. I was having different spiritual journeys, healthy journeys, until I figured out this holistic approach. It's something that in Ukraine is not popular. People still don't really understand what is a holistic approach. And it's basically when everything combined, when you look at the person as its whole self, you look at the sleep, at eat, at social connections and emotional balance and your brain work, everything is combined. So when I realized that I missed a lot on the habits, on everything. I start building slowly the routine, and I start support myself mentally. I was doing a lot of different practices, and I went to study. I was like, if I could help myself, I healed my panic attacks in 4 months without doctors, without anything.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, if I could do that, I could help other people.
This is
So
this holistic approach that you've changed. So you've changed your whole you not only changed your whole perspective, but you've changed your whole lifestyle as well. Is there anything particular that kind of helped push you? Were there like mini habits? Was there any processes that you were doing? What systems were you kind of using? By systems, I mean like, habits or...
yeah, I mean, at that point when I start studying, learning the holistic approach, it took me 1.5 years, and actually all my savings at that time, they gave me step-by-step plan. So I have like 6 or 7 diplomas from that school. So I'm a mindfulness coach, nutritionist, life coach, confirmed with the international ICTA coaching program. And I was just implementing those little steps. So first, I think the base is to start with a small, is like what you eat. Do you drink enough water? Like cover yourself with the basic. Do you have enough sleep? When do you sleep? When do you wake up? When you go to sleep? This is the basic. I think this is 3. If you manage to make them your healthy routine, the rest is just gonna start building up slowly. Because I don't believe that the person just can start, and do everything perfect in one day.
It's true. I mean, most people, they have this like waking moment. Something happens in their life and they're like, okay, now I need to, change my life for the better. Whether they discover some illness or something, or an external event happens and they feel like, okay, now I need to change this. But equally with like New Year resolutions, after a few weeks, then they just fall through the cracks and go back into their old habits. Is there anything that you could recommend to people just to keep maintaining a more sustainable, healthy lifestyle?
I like to take the approach that often represent of what is actually habits are. So imagine we have like a mountain, and inside we have the root, or it could be the tree and we have the root. So our habits and what we're trying and how we're trying to change the habits is just a little leaves. But the root is actually the cause and the reason why cannot you be sustainable with it. So I believe it starts with some limited beliefs that could be coming from the childhood or from a parent or from teachers. Sometimes it's, or kindergarten, whoever you were played with. If you think you're not good enough, you will never achieve the good sustainable routine. If you think that someone else is better, or if you think that something, all those negative beliefs, they build up, and then in the end, you're already adult and you don't really know why it's not happening. It's just not happening. It's keep failing. I have like a 5 or 6 type of personalities who is trying to build routine, like starting on Monday type, or seeking perfectionist type, or seeking a magic pill type. So each of these personalities that you need to identify within yourself, like actually be true to yourself and say, okay, I have this problem that I always want to start on Monday. Okay, so what do I do with that? So once we know what's actually happening inside your conscious, unconscious, and subconscious mind, then we can start building up the routine. So if I just gonna tell you, oh, start drinking water in the morning, it doesn't mean you're actually going to do that, right?
It's true. It's always starts within, right? It's always, it's always great to have that awareness. Is there any practical tips how people can gain awareness? Maybe could they ask questions to people? Maybe could they consider therapy, counseling, anything that can really expand that awareness?
Yeah, definitely. First, you need to ask yourself, why do you need this routine for? What do you want to achieve? What is your main purpose? Yeah, maybe you want to look better. Maybe you want to find a partner in a life, or make kids, or grow the business. Whatever you want to achieve, you need to understand that, okay, this specific habit is just one little step towards the big goal. And when you see the big goal, everything becomes clear and you become motivated. Of course, it's also important to work with, whether it's a coach, could be holistic coach, nutritionist, could be therapist, whoever, or life coach, whoever feels comfortable. And sometimes we really all need support. I also have a therapist and I work with it, and I think this is absolutely healthy to do. So seeking for support, and also support of your family and of your communities, getting together with the community and discussing your problem and actually sharing what could be helping you. I think that could be a really good step.
Absolutely. I mean, I work with a counselor as well. We've got a space every week where we just reflect on, the experiences of the week or the last 2 weeks, and really help kind of reflect. It helped me understand my limiting beliefs. And once you start, it's just this like never ending. It's like the sea is so deep, it's just never ending. And but it's definitely helped me, create the life that I want. Particularly, what I find particularly challenging is when I start traveling, right? Because then the routine goes out the window. I get, a lack of sleep, lack of good nutrition. And then I start making bad decisions, and then I start to slowly slip into these habits. And one of the reasons why I enjoyed your videos is because even like I think it was a couple of videos ago, you did a tips on, healthy snacks when you're traveling. And I thought that was just so simple and so brilliant. And I think a lot of people could benefit from that. So, it's like, how does one achieve like a sustainable lifestyle as a digital nomad? How do they keep, living slightly healthier, or, is it seeking routine immediately, or what's your take on that?
So since me as you been digital nomad since 2018, I think it's quite a long way to understand how it works. So first of all, I'd like to give this a really big point is you need to plan ahead, but be flexible. Like these two together very important, because when you don't plan ahead, then you're gonna get lost. You get to the new destination and you're like trying to cover the basics, like finding food, this, that, and then you don't know what to do. They're trying to work at the same time. So everything becomes a mess. So you don't have like time to build up the routine. So try to plan with a local time. See maybe if there is any gym around or any yoga, whatever you want to attend, as well as be flexible. Think, okay, if I don't have the yoga option, what else can I do? As well as, for example, I plan ahead. I save ahead the places I want to eat. And my trick is when I go to the Google map, let's say I'm going to Da Nang, hopefully, I'm searching for a specific healthy ingredient, let's say a brown rice. I just put the brown rice and voila, there is a lot of people who wrote some comments saying, oh, this amazing healthy brown rice together with something was really good. So this way, it already shows me the healthy options, as well as I could put like a Pokeball or whatever I think is the healthy ingredient, and it shows me the options. So I save around 3 to 5 places that around the place I live. That's already saved me a lot of time. So I arrive, I have place to sleep, I have place to eat, I have place to go work in the gym because I saved it around. Well, it's also important to focus on a balance of what you eat. So your plate has to always have a protein, a healthy fat, and complex carbs. When you have this consistently, you have enough micro and micronutrients that help nourishing your body with vitamins, with minerals. All of that is gonna create a healthy and nice immune system that whatever you do, you change the time zone, you change the time. Sometimes you have to work at night. When you work with a different time zone. That's the big problem, right? Sometimes it takes 3 days to adapt to the time zone to go to sleep in the right time. Like I was actually, when I arrived to Chiang Mai, it took me around the week because my time was completely different. So I also like to pack with me something that helps me be consistent with the habits and not related to some outside things like gym. For example, I have resistant bands with me all the time. I have, that's perfect. I have a yoga mat, usually that's very, very light and very foldable. So it weighs like 1 kilo. I also have healthy snacks. even all the way from Turkey. I brought some snacks that I think like the pack of nuts that are raw and are fresh. So I know that whatever happens, I have this as a snack, as my backup. But I also believe that when you become a digital nomad, you need to appreciate and embrace whatever happens to you, whether it's good or bad, whether you're struggling, or sometimes we can have a stomach sickness from some certain food in certain countries, right? Just remember that this is your journey and it's not always have to be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very health conscious. I try to eat very healthily. I try to eat a lot of protein because I exercise and I try to keep lean. So for me, it's very important that when I arrive into a new place, I also cook. I've seen also your videos about that as well. It's just a great way to kind of keep the routine and keep your kind of healthy habits going. It can be challenging because sometimes, especially when you go to like places that places like in Asia that they don't have a lot of Western food, this particularly what I've heard of Da Nang. They do, but not so much as Chiang Mai, for example, or anywhere
Yeah.
in Thailand. It can be very challenging to to change very quickly, and it's just your body becomes the shock. Is there any like short-term benefits, or I should rather say, are there any long-term, I guess, damages to having such a rapid change, or can that be very easily offset in your opinion, from like
You mean
food wise?
when you live as a digital nomad and change this foods all the time?
All the time, yeah.
So if I would get back to the classic nutrition, it says that you have to eat food that grows within 100 kilometers around you. That's the interesting fact. But in fact, the life is so changing right now that we just cannot do that anymore. For example, I cannot go back to my country because there is a war. So there's obviously a reason why I can't be there. So we need to just accept the fact as what it is. And let's say I am in Asia for the last 3 to 4 years on and off, but I am so adaptive to this food already that I feel like it's my food already. So it is just matter of how many places and how often do you change that. Because if you constantly move within a weeks or a month, like all the time, let's say you're going around the globe, then it might be a little bit changing because your body is going to be constantly adapting not only to the food, but also to the climate. And your body is going to be in a constant stress. When your body in a constant stress, your cortisol, your hormone stress is rising, right? And when it's rising, you cannot lose weight. It's very, very hard. You also cannot maintain a healthy work-life balance or routine. So I still would suggest that people need to have some kind of a base, or at least maybe choose the side of the world for a certain period of time, maybe like half a year. This side, Asian side, that is really often for digital nomads, like half a year somewhere in Europe, right? So in this case, if you moving between two countries, you adapting to these two type of food already, your body already know what it gets. So I believe that would be a thing too.
When you go and plan stuff ahead, how often do you, how many months in advance do you plan, or would you recommend planning? Is it like 6 months? Is it a few months, or do you have a base somewhere and then you go travel from that base, like neighboring countries? What's your, planning like?
So for me, Bali was always as the base. And once I figured that it is the base, now Thailand is nearby. So it was Bali in Thailand, Bali in Thailand. And whenever I have had the opportunity to go to see my family or seeing my husband's family, we go into that side of the world. And then once we are already near Europe, we go and try to pick maybe one more new country to see in Europe that we haven't seen before. And then we spend maybe like a month or so there, and then we go back to our place here. So Chiang Mai, Bali, and few other places in Thailand, like maybe Samui or Phangan. So I think that's
Yep.
that's just the way I do. I don't really plan exactly when I'm going to be going here and there, but I just know that this is going to be the locations.
So now you're thinking of going back to Bali soon, maybe Vietnam. Will I get to see you in Vietnam?
I would love that, honestly, because everybody in Nomad Summit talking about Vietnam and how good it is. So I'm so excited actually to check it out.
It gives you a bit of a FOMO, doesn't it, if you don't go, right? Because everyone seems to be going there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about work. Let's talk about the business world as well. There's a lot of people who are starting out and they want to work online. They've got some affinity towards health. They want to be maybe a health nutritionist like yourself, which is generally like start an online business. What would you say was the top advice for people who are starting out today?
I think first of all, you need to answer the question why. Why do you do what you do? Or why do you want to do it? Because when I was a graphic designer, I did my job really good. I had good clients, I had good money. I had no complaints except one. I feel like my mission was not fulfilled. And when I realized that, I dropped my work and I was just having little time to exploring myself. And honestly, actually, my mom helped me at that time. I was just coming to her and I was saying, look, I don't know what I want to do. I know I want something related to health, but I cannot be a doctor. It's too late, to start studying. And then she was like, oh, there's this new holistic approach thing. And she sent me the school link to the school. And I basically, the next few days, I just spent all my money, all my savings, and I bought the course. So sometimes you need to look at the signs, what it shows you. Usually the universe gives us so many signs already to understand what we need to do. And, it's also when you're trying to like maybe start a social media, like I just recently shifted from Ukrainian market to global market. It's a really big step for me to start speaking English all the time. But the most important is to stay as you are. Like, I know there's a lot of trends going on, and everybody's like, you have to do trends because you have to do it to become a popular, get views and stuff like this. But it's very easy to get lost there and just look at your page and realize that it is not you. It's just copy of someone else's actions, right? So it's important to stay with yourself authentic. As well as, for example, as for me, I blend my personal story with giving the tips. So people know that I am also a digital nomad. I also had some problems in past. I still have some. We are not perfect. And I'm just sharing the tips that works for me and work for my client. And I know that they are going to work for many people. So, as well as, I think that important is, as for my approach, it's very realistic approach. I don't seek the perfectionism. I am not the person who's going to say, you need to stop drinking, you need to quit smoking, you need to, I don't know, do this, do that. I am trying to help person to get their own motivation and start slowly, step by step. For example, like people often ask me, you're a nutritionist, do you eat sugar? Do you drink alcohol? And I was like, yeah, I can do it sometimes. It's completely fine. There is nothing bad about it. If I would want to quit, I would quit. But sometimes I like to taste wine, and I'm not trying to hide this, and I will never do. As well as, I like Kinder Bueno, for example. It's just my thing. It's just if you come with
Me
the
too.
Kinder Bueno, I'm going to totally take it. And, I'm not going to feel any guilt. So wherever you're starting a blog or whatever you're starting a business, just be yourself and embrace who you are and show behind the screen who you are. And then people's going to love you for who you are.
Stay motivated and just keep going, even when you're traveling so much and you're, faced with so many setbacks. Is there any particular strategies or mindsets that you find particularly helpful for you that's like, no, snap it out. Now we need to do this. Or maybe you have a vision board or something that just keeps you going?
Actually, what keeps me going is my own personal story that happened, because I had such a terrible panic attack that I was falling on the street. And it
Really?
happened. Yeah, I fall on the street. I start having like almost like a seizure. I lost my vision, and there's some people were running to me, and I was having a coffee, and the coffee spilled all over. I felt like it's not me, you know? And that was each time I think about it, I was like, I made my health happening. Not the doctors, not the pills. I figured it out. And this is how I figure out for my clients. There's a lot of clients who comes to me with a very I don't know even how to say, very critical situation. Like some people have cancer, plus food disorder. Someone has certain patterns that it's like the doctors can help them. Like psychologists didn't help them for a few years, and then we somehow figure out the way, the approach. So
I was
makes me
gonna say,
motivate.
Kate, what's your approach? Is it every time is it different with the person? Is there approach to people?
Yeah, of course. So as I have like multiple diplomas, so like I can be a coach and a nutritionist and this and that, I am combining all this approach together, as well as I do Reiki, so I can do the energy healing and I can scan the energy as well. So I have like my own method. Sometimes when we have to figure out the root, the cause of the problem, I call it mm, interactive meditation. It's where we are talking, but we're trying to set our mind to the low rhythm, like alpha, sometimes theta is how the brain waves, so the slowing down the brain waves, so the person can actually reveal what's happening inside. So once we figure out the real cause, yeah, it's not really a nutrition approach. It's more like a holistic slash spiritual approach. But then since we are taking that out, we're working to shift it, like whether it's limited belief or something. Once I see that this is start working, we start at the like physical things, like, oh, let's drink a little bit more water, let's eat a little bit healthier, let's walk more outside. And then slowly, the person doesn't even notice how in a few weeks and a months it start changing. And they start picking up this motivation vibe, oh, I actually lost weight here. Oh, I'm actually stopped having. I had a lot of clients who had panic attacks, and we managed to stop with them like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It just stopped, because we figured out the cause.
Is there any one big case that you've solved that's changed the life completely of a client of yours?
I did, and this client, I worked with her for 4 months. She came to me. She had very low, like late stage of the intestine cancer, even though she is a very young girl. And she was very unhappy with her life. She had problem with the husband, and there was no self-love. She gave everything to her husband, to kid, to everybody, but not to herself. She was suffering, and she's just like, I am losing everything. So she didn't come for food. With food was everything good, but she came to shift her mind. And when we figured out why she doesn't love herself, like we had a really deep coaching sessions. We start slowly. Like I gave her little tasks, how to create a self-love. I gave her a lot of practices. She was doing everything though, because she had the critical situation. Unfortunately, sometimes people start doing things when they are in a critical situation rather than try to prevent things. But in 4 months, she changed the job. She hated the job. Now she's making a really good money being a photographer. She always lived in a war zone. So she got bombed 2 times for a place around that her windows got broken.
My God.
Despite that, yeah, the cancer, despite that, she was managed to do everything we worked with. And she was staying so motivated. Like when I talk about it, like I have a goosebumps, like this is how much I happy for her.
Intense, right?
And she set those boundaries, the self-love, and she started doing the practices, the yoga, meditation. And guess what? She had tumor 3 times less. In 4 months, her tumor got less. She was not taking any medication at all.
Of course. Mhm.
Like she started believing in this is that we cause our own problem and we can heal our own problems as well. So yeah.
Wow. And you must deal with some really intense cases. I'd never imagined. Maybe it's just my ignorance. I just thought, holistic approach. You help people become healthier, more balanced. I just never imagined it could be. They have so many problems. Would you find this generally from the root cause when you put all your clients and you look at them? Do you just find this as like lack of self-love? Do you find it's some limiting beliefs? What do you find at the core of most of your clients?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think that's the self-love because it's often happened that we don't get enough love from parents. Maybe they're busy with work. Maybe they got divorced. Maybe you were staying with your grandma all the time, and grandma is grandma. She's not mom. She's not dad. It also could be in school if you were bullying, like someone bullying you. Yeah, a lot of this,
It's
like
true. Mm.
a lot of
It's
this
true that
build up,
we
and yeah, you have a trauma.
yeah. It's true that we just we're creatures that seek love. And actually, I think there was a recent study I was reading, and it takes about 7 people to love a child, to give that love of the family. It's not just the mother, the father, the grandmas, it's more than that. So imagine, you know, you lacking that emotional support. Um, Kate, I really, really do appreciate your time. I do. I love what you do, and I love that you help people. I love your story. Before we go, is there one piece of advice that you can give to people that are going through a hard time right now, who maybe want to improve their lifestyle, be that they're digital nomads or situated somewhere,
One, let me
or
think
maybe a
about
couple. Doesn't have to be one, but yeah.
I think that the biggest thing I would say is you need to focus on yourself first, love yourself first, and search for that love. Where is it? You need to bloom it. You need to nourish that love because when I say loving yourself, I don't mean going to party all night. I don't mean going to work like crazy. When I say self-love, I mean when you set the boundaries between your work and your life and okay, 7 p.m., this is when I end my work and I don't care what's going to happen. This is my self-care time right now. When you set those boundaries, the people is going to respect that. There's often people who work with the clients, especially as the freelancers or nomads, they don't have these boundaries, and as soon as that person either figure out if they're going to cross it. So that's the first thing. Second is seek for support, whether it's a coach or maybe it's a community of the city you live or the country you live. Like, go and talk to the people who are like-minded, who like the same things as you, or maybe who have the same problem, and they will give you an advice. It's very important because I don't live with my parents at all. Like, they are so far away that I cannot just get that support from them that I would want, a hug or something. But you can find the good communities now. Like, this is why I love Chiang Mai. There's so many good communities and people who are actually supportive. As well as I'd like to say, ask yourself the right questions. If you have a problem right now or a struggle, don't ask yourself why or what is it, what have I done to get this bad situation. Ask yourself, what the good and positive moment inside of this bad situation? What is the situation teach me? What the lesson I can get? And you will see your mind start shifting to the positive matters. So when you shift to the positive matters, the people around you also going to be attracted to your positiveness, and you're going to get out of your problem much faster.
Amazing, amazing. I keep saying this, but it's just a pool of knowledge. And I love what you said about, the journey starting from within and getting the love and getting the support. How can people reach you if they need a holistic approach to their journey and to healing?
So most common one is the Instagram. This is where you can see my stories, my posts. This is where I show about my cookbook and talk about it. And you can check the free samples on my website, kategunnar.com. And of course, YouTube. I'm growing YouTube fast. I'm looking forward to see this video on YouTube, as well as I'm gonna have a lot of others. So yeah, I'm really happy. If you guys have any questions to me, I am really open to answer. Just drop the message or drop the comment below, and I will be happy to answer.
Yes, and I'll also make sure I put some of your links below in the comments. I'll ping it at the top so people can reach you and get in touch with you when they need
Yeah, I do have
to
the
lead a more
free.
healthy email.
I do have a free initial call, 30 minutes. So if you guys feel like you need a little support and understanding of what ways to move, you can just text me and we can have a little call.
There you go, guys. So if you ever need a free consultation, Kate is there for you to get you started. Kate, I love you. You're just amazing. I love your energy. I love what you do. I wish you all the best in your journey, and hopefully I will see you soon. We get to do more of this. So thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, I'll see you around.
Thank you. Thank you so much.